welcome back to the channel. Today is the first episode of a brand new series I'm calling Making Things I Can't Buy. Sometimes throughout my life, I'll just come across somebody on the street or someone on Instagram or in a movie who's wearing a garment that I just immediately fall in love with. And what I'll always do is go to Google and I'll type in the best description that I can of this item and try so desperately to find it so that I can buy it. And sometimes I can. And it's either sold out or it costs $1,000, or sometimes I just cannot find it at all. And that always leads me to thinking, I know how to make clothes. Why don't I just make the thing? And the answer to that, truthfully, is just that I don't always have time. So I think this is gonna be a really fun adventure to bring you guys along on. And something that I mentioned in my announcement video for this channel, if you happen to catch it, was that anything I make in this series, I'm also going to list on the website for you guys to buy. So the first item up is on the screen for you right now. And there's actually two reasons why I can't buy this. The first one being that it's sold out. The second one being that it's a skirt. When I first saw this photo, I thought it was pants. And I fell in love with the idea of this garment as pants. I love, 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 love the front high leg slits. I love how high up they go, so every time you take a step, your legs sort of become exposed. And I love the way that the fabric looks. It's super light, and it just looks like a gentle breeze could come and just sort of blow it, you know? It's like such a beautiful garment. I feel like you can wear it in the summertime, of course, but I feel like you could maybe wear tights under it, or nylons, I guess, in the winter and sort of jazz it up in that way. So, well, actually maybe not the winter because winter here is super cold, but in the fall or spring, you can definitely get away with wearing these pants. So that is my mission today, is to recreate this skirt into what is essentially a pair of split leg palazzo pants. Now, the first step in making anything, of course, is selecting the best fabric for the job. You can't really tell on camera, it probably just looks like any other black fabric, so I'll do my best to describe it to you. What it is 50% polyester, 50% rayon. I really love rayon as a fabric. It's made from wood pulp. It really does have a soft hand. It's very drapey and silky. This fabric, as you can see, I'll sort of shimmy it for you. It's quite light and drapey, and it's very wrinkle resistant actually. It's been folded up in this bag for a few days now, and it hasn't really got any wrinkles showing through. I think it's gonna launder well because rayon by itself can be quite delicate, and you can kind of wreck it sometimes if you don't wash it correctly. So I think this will be like a little bit more sturdy, and I think it's just gonna be a really nice flowy pant material. Now, before we can cut into this beautiful fabric, we need to draft the pattern. So I'm just gonna roll out some plain white paper and get started with a crosshair in the center of the paper near the top. I'm drawing a vertical line to represent the side seam of the pants, and then 3 different horizontal lines. The top one is the waist, the middle is the hip, and the lowest one is the crotch. From there, I just need to decide how much bigger I want the pants to be than my body at each of those 3 points. Once I have that determined, I can use the French curve to draw in both the back crotch and the front crotch. Next, I'm gonna extend the vertical line to be longer than I think I want the pants to be. I'll draw one more vertical line at the bottom to represent the hem. This is, of course, longer than I think it needs to be, so that once the pants are made, I can try them on myself and hem them to wherever they need to be. Next, I'm going to connect both the front and back crotch points to the hem using these 2 small rulers because I can't find my long ruler. Next, once the draft is done, I'm gonna roll out some tracing paper on top of it and trace both the front and the back pant legs. It's important not to cut the first draft because I always need to be able to look back on where I started. If any changes need to be made to these pants, I can always go back to the draft and make the corrections and then trace out a new pattern piece. Finally, I'm just using a ruler to add a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the perimeter of both pieces and then cutting them out. So I have my completed pattern in front of me. The very next step is to, of course, cut the fabric. I'm just going to fold the fabric in half lengthwise, lay it on the table in front of me, nice and smooth, no wrinkles, so that I can lay the pattern pieces on top, pin them down with just a couple of pins, and cut them out. Okay, we're back. And the pants pieces are now cut out. We have, of course, the backs and the fronts. Now, my favorite part of this whole entire process is the sewing, so let's get into it. To start, I'm gonna use my serger to finish some edges of the pants so that they don't fray. I'm going to serge the crotch, the inseam, and the upper part of the seam where the slit is. Next, I'm taking one front pant and one back pant and sewing them together at the inseam. From there, I'll use an iron to press the seam open so that it lays nice and flat. Next is sewing the seam above the slit. On my pattern, I've already predetermined where the slit is going to end, so I'm gonna sew from the waist down to that point. That will, of course, be followed by more pressing. At this point, I essentially have a left leg and a right leg. To join the legs together and make them into actual pants, I need to leave one leg inside out and turn the other leg right side out. I'm gonna stuff the right side out leg into the other leg and pin them together at the crotch. As you can see by how I have it lined up, it's really important that the seams match. This is the first time that you're really seeing me use a pin during this project. The reason for that is that after working in the fashion industry, I realized that pins just kind of slow you down when you're sewing. However, to be able to make sure that these two seams are lined up at the crotch perfectly, I'm gonna use one single pin. From there, I'm gonna start at the center back and sew all the way down the crotch, past the inseam, and back up again, all the way to center front, making sort of a U shape. Now the pant leg that's inside of the other pant leg can be pulled back out and the crotch can be pressed open. For the first time, this garment really starts to take the shape of pants. Ah, yes, definitely pants. Next step is to turn the pants inside out. I'm going to now work on finishing the slits. To do this, I'm going to press the fabric back a ½ inch on either side of the slit opening. This has to be done a total of 4 times. Now that it's pre-pressed, what I can easily do is turn under a 1/4 inch and then another 1/4 inch to make a really nice, neat, narrow hem from the opening of the slit all the way down to the hem. Next up is the waistband. You may have noticed in my pattern drafting phase that I didn't actually draft a separate waistband piece. The reason for that is because I tend to just sort of do them on the fly. I use this kit to apply eyelets to the front of the waistband for the drawstring. Next, I made the actual drawstring, using a long strip of fabric folded in onto itself. This waistband has 3 elastic channels, all 5/8 of an inch wide. This here is the completed waistband. I don't know about you, but that is just so satisfying. Now the pants are almost complete, but the next step is of course to stitch the waistband to the pants themselves. I actually ended up using pins again for this step to make sure that everything was nice and even, and I pinned the waistband to the pants at the center front, center back, and both side seams. After stitching the entire way around with my single needle, I then switched back over to the serger to finish the edge. Finally, we were on to the very last and final step. Off camera, I put the pants on and used some chalk to mark out where I wanted the hem to be. Then I used a ruler and drew a perfectly straight chalk line on both pant legs, cutting off the excess fabric. Now, with those last 2 straight lines sewn, these pants are complete. I could have just done one final reveal for these pants, but instead, I decided to show you them styled 3 different ways for 3 different seasons. The first one is a summer look. I've paired them with a tube top, floppy hat, and gladiator sandals. The next is a more fall/winter look, where I've paired the pants with a gray knit sweater, some shiny faux snakeskin boots, and some scrunched up socks. The last look is admittedly my favorite one. This one is more of a transition season look for spring/fall, and in this, I've paired the pants with a Metallica t-shirt tied in the front, as well as a mustard-colored wool jacket and some studded mules. Alright guys, so that's the end of the very first episode of Making Things I Can't Buy. I had a lot of fun putting these pants together and styling them in all the different outfits at the end. I hope that if you didn't know anything about sewing or making clothes, that you found seeing this process interesting and just kind of getting a behind the scenes look at how things are made from scratch. I already can't wait to do another episode, and I'm keeping my eyes peeled right now for anything that I find that I like and I can't buy. Also keep in mind that if you fell in love with these pants as much as I did, they are available for purchase on my website right now, lindevil.com, and it's also linked in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one.